There comes a time when we have to question almost everything. We can't just take things at face value anymore. Take, for instance, the teachings about Japheth being Europeans, Shem being Arabs, and Ham being Africans. Have we ever questioned these teachings to confirm their authenticity? No, I don't believe so. Please take a walk with me through the scriptures to see if these things are really so. Let's start with Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Shem. In Genesis 9, we read how Noah began to be a farmer. After reaping from his farm, he drank too much wine and became drunk. When he awoke from his drunkenness, he realized what had happened. Noah then cursed Canaan Hamson, blessed Shem, and also blessed Japheth. Genesis 9 verses 24-29, and Noah awoke from his wine and knew what his younger son had done unto him. And he said, Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. And he said, Blessed be the almighty Sonini Nanini of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. Sonini Nanini shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. And Noah lived after the flood 350 years, and all the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died. With that said, there are some things we must pay attention to. Canaan, the son of Ham, is cursed to serve Shem and Japheth. Now pay attention to where Japheth and Shem were to dwell. They were to dwell together. Sonini Nanini shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tent of Shem, meaning both of them shall live in the same place. So, how is it that we have learned Japheth represents Europeans, and Shem represents Arabs in Asia? These are two different people, and two different places, yet the scriptures indicate they should dwell together in one place. Is Europe the same place as Asia? No. Do you see now why we must examine what we are learning? Even this that you are now learning, you should question. My conclusion, therefore, is that since Ham is considered an African man, it is plausible that all three live together on the continent of Africa. Remember, Canaan, Ham's son, would naturally live where his father lived, and he is to serve Shem and Japheth. With that said, they are all Africans, living together in one place. Ishmael. Who is Ishmael? Did Ishmael ever live in Asia and identify as an Arab? Who were Ishmael's parents? Let's find out. Genesis 16 verses 1-4. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bare him no children, and she had an Egyptian handmaid named Hagar. And Sarai said to Abram, Behold, now Sonini Nanini has restrained me from bearing children. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai. And Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her maid the Egyptian, and gave her to her husband Abram as his wife. And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. So, the parents of Ishmael are clearly Abram and Hagar. We know for sure who Hagar is, an Egyptian woman. The scriptures also affirm that Abram was an African man. With this understanding, the question to ask next is, where did Ishmael live? Genesis 16 verses 11-14, Genesis 21 verse 9, Genesis 21 verses 20-21, Genesis 25 verses 16-18. Since Hagar, Ishmael's mother, was an African woman, when Abram sent her away, she would naturally return to the region where she originally from. So Ishmael lived among her people, who would be his people also. Genesis 25 verse 18 states that Ishmael dwelt before Egypt and among his brethren, placing him on the African continent. Since there is ample evidence in the Bible that both parents were African and that Ishmael lived, died, and was buried in Africa, he is African and has no connection to Arabs or the Muslim faith. Edom and the Edomites. Who is Edom and where do they live? Are they Europeans, as some suggest? Let's see what the scripture says about it. Numbers 20 verses 14-21. When the Bantu, the so-called Israelites, were leaving Egypt, they encountered the Edomites on their way to the Promised Land. Numbers 20 verses 14-20 describe Moses' request for passage through Edomite territory, which was denied. For argument's sake, if they were heading to Israel and Asia, leaving Egypt would not have led them through Europe, as some suggest Edom is Europe, as Europe is an entirely different continent and has the vast Mediterranean Sea between Africa and Europe. While traveling, they would have encountered the Edomites on the way to Israel, and that would not be in Europe. Checking a map, when Moses left Egypt on their way to Israel in the Middle East, so-called, which country would they traveled through before reaching their destination? At this point, please reference the Google map. Thus, the Edomites were encountered in Africa, not in Asia. The people traveled south coming out of Egypt, meaning their journey remained within Africa. This suggests that Edomites were Africans, not Europeans. The Bantu, so-called Israelites, traveling towards where Abram had lived, which was in Mamre, near present-day Cape Town in South Africa. In conclusion, the Edomites are Africans and not Europeans. Thank you for your company and see you next time.